So now that we have the permit, I'm able to get things started out here. So I really didn't know when I was going to get my permit, but I actually just got it. But in the meantime, I was getting things set up for power. Now part of this power is for the obviously existing Barndominium, and also be for the new house. Ever since I bought this property, I hated these power lines, plus I have all these trees, so I was always worried. So I'm actually going to do a ground transformer now. We've got our pad location here, we've got our existing lines all marked out on site. I've got my new trench marked out. So in roughly 3 weeks, my power company will be out on site. So not this week, but next week I'm going to get things started with digging here, just because I got 250 feet here. I've got to dig it 42 inches deep. We're going to put all of our soil on that side of our trench on the left. And then when I get things dug out, I'm going to get screenings delivered and set over there, because we'll have to have this screened. We'll have to have a good chunk of this area all dug out as well for the pad transformer and to tie into these existing lines. And then after, my cable company can do their thing. So it'll be a lot cleaner here, which is awesome. And then I'll do the conduit stub out that will go to the new house and cut over this way and go by the well, so I can pick up the well. All right, so since now we actually have a building permit, I am going to get started site work. I still don't have the bank closed yet on stuff for the construction loan, but it's whatever, because we got some prep work anyway before. So you can't really start the actual house construction until the loan is closed. They just part of the rules in general for any construction loan, but you can start site work. I want to get some of the topsoil stripped and everything and set up first. So I'm actually going to use the 2-foot bucket. We're going to get rid of the tooth bucket to try and scrape some of this topsoil. I think it'll work better because it's only about a couple inches of topsoil. The skid steer I'm going to use later to clean things up. I was scraping some of the topsoil away with this skid steer over there. So with this bucket, it's got a straight blade on it. Try and get it spun around on me a little. There we go. Cool. Perfect. This thing keeps losing washers with that small bucket. Alright, that'll keep us moving. So we're going to get some fuel in this thing now and then get cruising on stuff. Really not too exciting just stripping topsoil, but just put in some hours. Have to prep our base, get our base built up. So we got our box painted out. You can't really see the mark now, so I'm going to grab some paint. I'm probably going to go about 3 feet past my overall house box. That way I can get topsoil cleaned up. Probably should go about 5. Yeah, I'm going to go about 5 feet. And then we're just going to keep working our way back towards the topsoil pile. We're going to be battling a lot of roots, I already know it. So. we've been making some good progress on getting things dug out with topsoil. We're going to get out the drawings now. So next step is going to be getting our fill dirt set up. I say that you should figure out where your house is going to be, which way it's going to face, and kind of mark things out. Made sure I had this thing exactly laid out correct, so that way when the surveyor came on site, everything was done, they could survey to it. Then I put my offset stake, which I have an offset pin right over in this area and right around that area, and that's actually my center line. And I've got exactly 30 feet from this stake here to the front face, or the back face technically, of the gable wall. So right here is our main plan that we're using. So I had existing garage with my existing concrete threshold elevation. So I use that elevation there, and then I have my new finished floor elevation, which that is going to be 10 inches lower for my subgrade of where I'm going to need everything to be. So first cut out your topsoil. Then like I said, I have a center point laid out. So I've got a pin over there. I've got a pin actually all the way back over here, so that way I could get that center line. I had 30 feet from that pin to the face of here, so that way I could get all that laid out. Fill dirt that I have over here and get everything moved and start getting it spread out. I can check the elevations, but right now I'm going to get it started. It's starting to get a little late, so we'll see how much work I can get done. But here's our proposed plan that we'll get everything set up for. The tree survey wasn't exactly required, but it did kind of help out, lay things out. Some townships do require it. Quite a few trees that were marked. I actually didn't end up cutting all of them. Basically the X ones are noting to remove, technically compromise. But for instance, I removed that one. I kept some of these back ones. I kept that one there. So I'm trying to keep some of the trees out here anyway. Even some of these, I kept it a little bit tighter. Like I didn't get rid of that oak right there. So you can't see it. It's out of video screen here, but I've got my pin over here for my elevation. Should have been left undisturbed. Yep, it's in pretty good shape. But I'm gonna start getting a little bit of this fill dirt in here to at least, because we kind of got like a bowl right now. So I got to start getting this set up. we got all of our fill dirt spread out that we have for now. I'm going to mark out the house box and then get out my rotary laser and check our elevation from our stake. I know I definitely need more dirt, so that's what I got to figure out. So I'm going to get things marked out. Hopefully the string line is long enough. When I marked out my layout, I used the center line for everything, so that way I could kind of figure out where the house was going to be. And then since it's pretty much a rectangle, I'm using the center line as my reference point. It's just a lot easier. I'm going to use a mason type knot that I learned. Give it a good old twist a couple of times. Stick it around your pin, and then you can pull on that string. And then after loop it back around, it kind of helps self-ties itself. Just center line, where I originally had everything marked. Step, we're going to get our laser out. We're going to run this laser in this way, parallel with you guys, perpendicular, and then a level line. We're going to use our laser to get it squared up on this end. And then what I can do is I can use my sensor. Put on sensor mode, like that. And I can go, yeah, so we gotta move. We're gonna do some center line markings just because. Pretty accurate so far. All right, I'm pretty close there. Just same thing, couple marks around here. All right, you can set it down. All right, let me keep marking out the box. Look at Bobo.
I know, I was just thinking that.
When he first came out here, he was just running around. You're good, Bobo. He's afraid of the tape measure, though.
Are you marking out the rooms right now?
So, like, the one wall's around here.
Yeah.
And then the other wall's over here. And then, yeah, front there. Right now, I am pretty much where the staircase is, maybe. Because this is all, like, family room right here.
Okay.
And then kitchen is pretty much in front of me.
Where's the dining area?
Over here.
Okay.
On the other side of that string, towards you.
Hi, Bo. Now, marking it out, like, is this something that the general contractor would, like, the pole barn company would just come in?
No, I have to do the survey in general. Even, like, this is like a rough paint. When I do the finish, I'm going to do old school, what I call, it's kind of old school. It's called batter boards. So I'll have 10-foot offsets is usually what you do. So I'll have a board like right around here in the stake in the ground. Mm-hmm. And I do it on all 4 corners, so 8 batter boards. And then when I square things up, I'll use a string line. And then you can move that string left or right. So that way you get things squared up. So, but what you do is you survey out where things are. I'm cheating because I got the laser. Makes it easy. It gives me a nice square corner. So then when I do my batter boards, I'll mark my pins on my corners, and then I'll put the string lines to that. And then that helps them when they start the barn, so that way it's exactly where it needs to be.
Okay.
So when I build a house, it's all electronics. We have a surveyor comes out, he has his control points, which is like a stake over here, a stake over there, a stake over there. And what that does is that zeroes in the equipment. They usually need at least 3 control points.
Okay.
So then we'll have like this motorized head that kind of sits there. He'll zero everything into the equipment, and then on the computer or the screen, it already has the house layout. So then he just goes around with a stick and he's like, oh, all right, it's right here. Marks it. And he does that same thing the whole time. He's got his total station system here with the reflector head on the top. He's got the little computer module that tells him his pins, where stuff's gonna be. And then he's got this head here that's zeroed in off our control points on site. And this little camera thing just watches that reflector. That's how he does the surveying out here. For big homes, that's necessary, but not for this. But yes, the contractor is responsible. Or you get a surveyor to do it. But this right here, this step alone saves $3,500 of me doing this.
That's what I was going to ask.
And I did the initial layout, so I put this string line, and then I have it 30 feet from there, so that way I always know where everything is. And I put the stakes somewhere safe, so that way they never get hit. That's the big old box.
You just tripped.
I did just trip. Now I gotta mark, I gotta see how much elevation, how much more dirt we need. But at least I got the footprint idea. Yeah, a good amount of dirt still. Let's see. So like my subsoil needs to be up here. It's because there was a lot of topsoil. It's about 10 inches. So we're back to almost virgin grade. This here was a little lower, but over there is about virgin. So I need about 10 inches. So we're gonna take, we'll just call it a foot. So 56 feet times 32 feet. That's 17, 9 to 2, or times 1, obviously, cubic feet. That's 660 yards. So they say about 20 yards per truck, but in reality, we probably need 4 or 5 more trucks worth, I guess. I wonder how many loads he got in before.
Like 4 or 5.
Good thing is they can dump it right here this time, so I don't need to, it'll be a little bit easier to move. I can just kind of push it. Especially if they dump like there, one here, one there, one there. All right.
And it's all done in 2 days.
Yeah.